invite such distinguished guests, and I think a very good representation of the Arab telecommunications industry. We have global operators and trendsetters. We have both QTEL, Etisalat, STC, and DO represented here, which I think is marvelous. As Ericsson, we often talk about well, by the way, I work for Ericsson, and I'm heading up the region for Ericsson here in the Middle East. I should have said that as well. We often talk about the network society, and I think in about 120 years we connected places. In about 25 years we managed to connect 5 times as many people on the mobile. So from 1 billion places connected, we went to 5 billion connected mobile people. In less than 5 years, we will have 5 billion mobile broadband connections globally. And the pace is the same in the Arab world, no doubt. You have seen the social network and what that has done over the last maybe 6 months when it's really taken off. And I remember at the latest part of last year, we talked about the fact that how important Arab content is, and the fact to have Arab interfaces to create the network society. That has come. We have the Android, we have the Apple actually working perfectly well on Arabic interfaces. Now we need, of course, the applications and all the content to come there as well. But that is what I think as a platform what we will talk about. First of all, let's talk a little about where we ended. I'm very interested, Osman, about DO. You have really come in as a little of a fresh wind here with media, and you alluded to that also before. Would you like to explain how you see a little the changes in the industry from your perspective with convergence of media and applications?
Yes, if I want to put the headline, having lived the liberalization of the telecom in 2 major experiences, I've been an actor in Egypt and then the UAE, 2 keywords: ambition, and the second one, some people might see them contradictory, humility. Ambition in the sense that we have always been underestimating the long term in this connectivity game or picture. I remember back in '97 when we were working on the license for Egypt, and when I mentioned a mobile in the hand of everyone, it became really a story, and people were challenged in this. And for the record, we presented, I myself put this on the, the file on the regulator. The business plan was shooting for 8% penetration in Egypt after 10 years. In 2008. So less than, I think, something like 6 million in 2008. The 10 years business case. That was what we presented. And then this mobility story was the name of the game in the past decade. You're mentioning now the broadband story. So ambition. Humility, because we always sit and work on this strategy and on these killer applications where we say, we think that people will be doing this and that. You've been in this industry, we all have been in this industry, m-commerce, mobile payments, we were all this. And guess what? Social networking came, like the 2008 crisis.
And nobody talked about it.
Nobody just came. And it was so simple. It's about people connecting with each other. This is why I'm saying we need to have a lot of humility. People will tell us what is the next big thing. So the way I'm seeing few headlines, and I'll have to take this out of my presentation this afternoon. So that's that's the not interest. Everything, everywhere. People will not understand not having their entire life moving with them everywhere they want. That's the big picture. How does this translate? The 3 screens. Customers, users, because we like customers. Customers mean it's, you know, it's my customers. Actually, they're users, to the point that Abdel Malik was mentioning. The 3 screens. 3, the mutualization of the physical infrastructure. We cannot go, if we are investing on these pipes, and the pipes are going to be diverse, fiber is going to be a more and more important part of the game. We cannot, all of us, go and spend billions to build and on civil work and digging and putting ducts. Government will not let us do this, because they will look at this money is needed to do something else. The mutualization of the infrastructure. Last but not least, monetization. We will move to completely different models. From basically what was since the beginning of Telecom, a traffic-based model. In the beginning it was time and distance. You know, you speak more, you pay more. Even on these phones, you know, where we was doing going back. So this was, you speak more, you pay more. You speak to a further distance, you pay more. Then we moved to more, we are moving now, it's traffic-based. We will be moving to usage-based in a way or another. We don't know these models yet. Yeah. Yeah. And moving into these models, there will be the need, for instance, what we are seeing now. Recently, France Telecom announced the Orange Group with Google that they are discussing on a model where you will have a way of segmenting even the usage of your network, yes. Which is which type of quality, etc. That brings us to the main paradox: more globalization and more personalization.
I'd like to ask Rassam from STC here on one of the aspects, which is the connectivity, because I think in the end it is of course the basis of this industry to build the platform, but how does it work going forward? I mean, and it's billions of dollars that STC and all groups are investing. I mean, how will we take it forward?
Yeah, that's the biggest question, I think, facing our industry today, because our industry has faced this question every 30 to 40 years, approximately.
And the model was much simpler. I mean, we were saying it was, you know, pay for one service, but that's not perceived like that today.
Look, there are certain similarities, there are certain differences. We've been in the business of connecting more people at higher speeds. That's it. Throughout the last 150 years. Now, how do we do it? How do we approach it? The environment changes, so we change with it. If we're looking at 50 billion connected people within the next 5 years around the world, again, as Osman said, that's a humbling number, basically. To get there, you do need infrastructure to get all these people connected. Now, we look at the changing trends and the mega trends around us. As was said earlier, definitely we are a major contributor to economic development, and infrastructure is an essential part of this contribution. If we're looking at this part of the world, for example, in the Middle East, the expectation from now till 2030 is for the economy to grow on average across the region, Middle East, North Africa, of 5% per year, GDP growth. Now, if we apply this simple equation and we look at our internet penetration today, which is still quite low, below 50, definitely. If we increase our internet penetration in this part of the world to above 50%, 60%, 70%, that means this average GDP growth expected at 5% will probably be 7% or 8%. We're also seeing demographic shifts. We're seeing demography, effectively young people, the users of connectivity, the heavy users of connectivity, are shifting from the west to the east. The growth in young population in Middle East and Asia is supplying the world with the new generation, or Generation C, the connected generation.
But do these guys, do they understand the fact that you pay for a connection? Do they appreciate that?
No, this is what I was going to get to, actually. The Generation C, this is the generation that was born after the 90s. They were born in an internet and mobile world. They don't actually know what a telex means, by the way, if you ask that question. Or even fax, some of them don't even know what a fax means. These people have set expectations from the internet. A lot of low costs, interactive models, advertising, sponsored models, and they see connectivity as a given thing. Pretty much maybe something their parents paid for, but they don't need to pay for it. So this is a big challenge also in the industry. Now, to deploy this infrastructure, there are 3 or 4 different mega changes that we need to think about. One is scale. In order to maintain certain margins, we need to create more efficiency in the system. Today, there are 700 and so operators around the world. There are probably a handful of over-the-top players in the world. So inevitably, consolidation and multiple market operations will be the name of the game.
In all layers, or?
In all layers in the industry, yes. It would have to happen. It is happening and inevitable. So single market operators, without either creating opportunities for themselves to grow beyond their markets at different layers, not necessarily infrastructure, like Osman, for example, is doing at Do, for example, or in infrastructure to create scale across a region or the globe, that could help. Secondly, we're seeing a lot of in-market convergence and consolidation. We've seen Orange and T-Mobile in the UK do it. Orange and T-Mobile across Europe working together on procurement, for example, which is not good news for you, but I guess that is a fact of life in the industry. So that's one thing. The second, but very important thing, is policy making and regulations.